Let's begin by looking at the map. Cthulhu War's core game comes with a map of a devastated and ruined, strangely detailed Earth. It comes with two double-sided map boards. As you can see, there is a 3-player configuration, and as we'll see in a moment, there's a 5-player configuration which provides more territories. The 4-player map has opposite sides facing. The map is marked with strange glyphs and the starting symbols for each faction. There's no wasted space on the map. Everything is a territory, including ocean areas, because of course we have Great Cthulhu. In this game, the objective is to bring about the end of the world. The stars are right. So, players are amassing points through the actions that they take along the doom track until they get to 30, where it's game over. At the same time, they may enact rituals of annihilation, which may also help them achieve their goals. And there is a 3-player version, a 4-player version, and a 5-player version provided in the game. It should be noted, to play with 5 players, you'll need to add one of the forthcoming expansion packs. During the Kickstarter, a 2-player version of the game was developed, which is based around the 4-player game. So what we've been looking at is the 3-player map. By turning over one of the map boards, we get the 4-player version with a slightly larger number of territories. And then by turning over the other side, we're looking at the backs, and this gives us the most number of territories and the 5-player version of Earth. And as you can see, the whimsy and creativity of Sandy Petersen shines through everywhere, especially down under. With more territories to conquer, the additional factions find lots of things to do. As you'd expect with a game using this type of map board, the front faces, the 3-player side, they fit together seamlessly. This back face, of course, needed to leave some space for an edge around the map, as it is a printing applied to the back surface of the map, not printed directly on its surface. Of course, one of the cool things about Cthulhu Wars is that you are fighting with these giant creatures and elder gods, the great old ones. A map even this large will soon become overshadowed by the impressiveness of the figures you use to war upon it. To wage that war, the core set comes with 4 factions. Great Cthulhu, who manifests in the South Pacific. The Black Goat, who manifests in West Africa. You can see that each card contains all the information you need to run that faction, right down to their unique abilities. What they can do as their great old one, the creatures that they can summon, and the spell books or interesting powers they can develop as you go through the game. And you note there's those yellow glyphs on the spellbook section of the yellow sign. So all the units you can deploy, the way they are deployed, and how they are used are all printed right on your faction card. Crawling Chaos manifests in Lower Asia. Now each faction is very different in play. You'll note that the unique ability for Crawling Chaos is flight. All of its units can fly, and this enables a lot of mobility, whereas a faction like Great Cthulhu, once summoned, he's very, very easy to bring back into play. He's immortal, that is not dead, and all that. No overview of the components can really do without taking close looks at the miniatures, but we'll be here all day if we look at all of them. But the detail represented in Cthulhu here, in and out of focus, is equaled by every other unit, small or large. His massive wings make him the tallest unit by far, but certainly not the most complicated. Shub-Niggurath is a mass of tentacles and maws, a very solid, broad piece. Behind her, it, they, you can see the yellow sign. You can see Hastur, the large one, and the king in yellow. Now my figure for the king in yellow came slightly bent. What I'll have to do is heat it up and put it into its proper position. It has quite a serious lean, but it's not what I would consider to be broken. Let's take a look at the detail on it. It's quite incredible. Bring it into focus. Each figure has exacting details from the smallest through medium, like this, up to the large. Teeth, bone, skulls scattered around, the fragments of rag, individual digits. It really is quite impressive, yeah, as is that lean. So I'll have to straighten it up as soon as I can. In my set, a number of figures were bent, most notably for the Crawling Chaos. The Night Gaunts were bowing, basically. But look at the detail on Nyarlathotep here. This mouth in its stomach with writhing souls inside, the grasping hands and the undulating tentacle. Everything about it suggests movement. Impressive as they are, these four factions would be nothing without their hordes of followers, such as the Night Gaunts for Crawling Chaos. Look at that. This one is a little bent. The next one is a little more bent, and the third one is completely prostrated before the awesomeness of the rest of the game. So we'll have to take care of those and spread their wings a little bit more fully. Here we see Great Cthulhu's Deep Ones and Cultists. We see the Cultists for the Black Goat and for Crawling Chaos and for the Yellow Sign, as well as other less savory creatures. The Cultists are depicted mid-summoning, spellbooks in hand. The Deep Ones crawling through the muck and slime. Everything from Cthulhu's faction appears glistening and wet and powerful. Likewise, the Dark Young are menacing and hungry in their visceral red. The medium-sized creatures which accompany her, it, them, they, whatever, and then into the abhorrent creatures which serve Hastur. Oh, I said his name. Behind the Yellow Sign's horrible servitors, we see the forces of the Crawling Chaos, the Night Gaunts, the Flying Polyps. Everything badder than everything else. So your board in play may be covered with towering creatures such as this before too many turns pass, conceivably right from the very beginning. Ending the world is not a game which you play half-heartedly. How big really are these figures? Take a look at my Blu-ray copy of The Whisperer in Darkness and see how Great Cthulhu tops it, and how Hastur's giant swollen head obscures most of it. Big. After play, of course, you will have to put things away, and this very hard tray makes that a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Safer as well. The great old ones each have a shaped space, and then underneath the tray, as long as you put it in upside down, there's no trouble in storing the other smaller figures. Sharp-eyed viewers will have just noted a broken piece of tentacle from one of the Dark Young in this space, which I'll have to reattach. It was attached when it arrived. It came off after I got it home. So that's something to be aware of also. Contents may shift in transit. I figure it came off on my way home. Everything else fits in Ziploc bags. There are 3 Ziploc bags, and there's one very small Ziploc bag within one which has the doom markers. We'll look at it a little later. The figures only go in one way. We can't put his writhing blueness in this way. He's got to go in hands down. And so once things are in, they're pretty securely seated. All the other units are grouped together basically by size. You'll have 2 bags for the medium-sized units, such as the Night Gaunts there and the King in Yellow, and you'll have another bag for all the smaller things, the cultists and whatnot. So take a look at all of these figures, all of which are about to go away. As shown on another channel, the link to which I'll provide in the description section, the easiest way to make these things go away is to put them in upside down. So let's look at the bottom of the box. Cthulhu War, Sandy Petersen game. Cthulhu still lives. And like I said before, every part of this game has received the Sandy Petersen treatment. So how many Cthulhus can play the game? This is a list of everything in it. ruined. And good description rounds out the back of the box. Humanity is finished, but the struggle continues. The old ones have risen. Monsters walk the earth. Which one will you use? The game is made in China, originally manufactured by Panda, although I understand that has changed, and put together initially by Green Egg Games, but it's now being called Peterson Entertainment. You can find information about the game in both places. Now, what is this? Is this a massive wall of blasphemy? I guess in a manner of speaking it is. All the backer names are on the outside of the bottom lid, all the way around all four faces. All very, very tiny, all in yellow, and not alphabetized. Good luck finding your name. So this is the bottom of the tray. I've put it in upside down. And the figures are still securely mounted in there, although you want to do it slowly. Ziploc bag. As you see there, they are a little thin. They may require replacement later on. And you just put the figures in by size. These are the doom markers. Very, very tiny. Very, very detailed. You will have to figure out exactly where things are going to go. I initially thought that the cultists and whatnot would stick in the corners and the Night Gaunts, the King in Yellow, stick in the other corner. That didn't quite leave me enough space for the larger figures, so we had to juggle things around, and this is ultimately what I came up with. Although once I fix the lean on the King in Yellow, I'll have to find a new place for him. After that, you just cover it over with the white sheet of cardboard that's provided with all the paper products, such as the full-color Cthulhu Wars rulebook. Very well written. It provides lots of avenues to understand how the game works and moves from beginning through the end, including strategy tips for each of the factions. So you should find that you are up and enjoying the game to its full extent very, very quickly. They do a lot to make sure the learning curve is fun and competitive. Looking at Cthulhu's faction section, we see a clear explanation of all the icons. Everything's linked together by arrows in the text with full-color images. It's just very easy to get into. Each piece shown pictorially and described, and then placement on the map, and on you go. One page after the other, giving you more and more confidence. And so this is a look at the components inside the Cthulhu Wars core set. I hope you've enjoyed this little look. The next videos that we'll show about Cthulhu Wars will, of course, be actual play, as we look at each of the four factions struggling to conquer a ruined future Earth.